What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Welcome to a brand new video guide. Now, first things first, I want to say I apologize. I have not uploaded in about 2 weeks. I really have been focusing really hard on my stream, just working full time and then streaming. It's been really hard to kind of make these video guides for you. But this is going to be a banger, so I would say that this one's pretty good. This is going to be 5 mistakes that you could be making early game to really hinder your progress. This could even happen at mid game, so you definitely want to stick around for this one, especially when global comes around. This is kind of going to be your Bible, in my opinion. Now, you guys can play the game however you want. You know how I work. Please just take this to the best abilities, and we'll just hop right into it, right? So your first mistake that you could be making in the early game is not putting add-ons on your abilities. So add-ons are essentially just buffs to your single abilities. Once you hit level 8, level 12, and then level 16, they will unlock all the abilities. At level 8, you will unlock your first slot, and then level 12, you will unlock your second slot, and then level 20, you will unlock your last slot, so you can make 3 add-ons to that. What I mean by that is that if I stop crafting here for a second, what I can do is if you hit K, what happens is, like I said, you have these abilities that all have levels to them. So whenever you go through your abilities, at the left side, you're going to see these weird kind of skills that have, well, add-ons. So my skill is level 16, so I have all of the skills unlocked. But if you look at my skill that's level 15 over here, I'm actually missing my last one. So I still have 2 slots unlocked because I got the level 8 and the level 12 one, but my level 16 one is actually locked because of that one one level. So make sure to level your abilities, especially your main abilities, early as possible, because with these classes that really struggle with sustaining early on, like Sorcerer and things like that, they will definitely benefit from those because you get healing, you get mana back, just things like that will save resources that will, again, save you Kina, which is the main currency in the game. In the long run, it's just a really nice kind of quality of life thing that they added. So a lot of sustain, a lot of damage that you could be missing out. That's kind of a light one, but it is good to see it. Now, these two are going to go hand in hand, so I'll just go ahead and do them both. So, saving enhanced materials. So, saving enhanced materials is really important because, again, Kina is your main resource of upgrading and everything in the game. So, when you're upgrading all of your gear while leveling, you will then, once you extract it, you will get your stones back, but all the Kina that you spent to upgrade that weapon will then disappear. So, that is a big problem. Personally, what I recommend is leveling your weapon to +8, possibly +10 in the early game. If you're really struggling and you don't know what you're doing, +10. I got away with +5 leveling a ranger, which is one of these known to be one of the squishiest classes in the game. I was fine, but at the end of the day, again, you can do whatever you want with your money. It is what it is. Personally, I think that just getting +5 in your weapons, maybe a couple of on your accessories if they roll okay stats, and then armors, just fucking leave them. Leave them as +1. If you're really struggling, +3 to +4 at most. But honestly, I think that's a waste of money at the end of the day. So just +5 the weapons. If you're struggling, maybe +8 to +10, and then just ride it as it is. It is what it is. Okay. So this is going to be like my 2.5 or my controversial take that can be kind of discarded. But you do not have to rush 45 in this. 45 is the max level. You do not have to rush it. Early game, especially when the game releases in global, which is what I'm making this guide for, the sheer amount of money that you can make in the first week just crafting random shit like superior flight potions or health potions early on to get those active duties done, you will make an absolute astronomical fuck ton of money by just running around looting stuff. Right? You might be slower than everybody else at leveling because they're getting in dungeons, they're getting in the abyss, they're doing all this content. But at the end of the day, like I said, everything in this game is done by Kina, which is just the currency in the game. So if you get ahead of everybody else in that early game when it comes to the crafting system, it comes into any of that aspect of the game, you will be miles and miles ahead of that person that just stayed up 24 hours and ran dungeons, and now they're gated by their conquest tokens, they're gated by their energy that they have, they're gated by a ton of stuff that they're not going to have early on. So getting that crafting early is going to be really insane for some money, just overall quality of life, enjoyment early on in the game. Really, really nice. Now, to my third point, this will be the biggest one. So fucking pay attention to this, all right? This is my biggest one. Resurrection stones. Now, it doesn't sound like a very big problem, but what I will tell you, this is probably one of the highest Kina sinks in the entire game that people do not bat an eye to. Resurrection stones early on should not be used at all. While leveling from 1 to 1 to 45, you should not use a single res stone. Now, I even argue for an experienced player like a KR vet or anything like it, whatever you want to call it, whatever egotistical bullshit you want to call it, the fact of the matter is I will probably not use a res stone up until tier 2 Vakran Sky, which is just the 1600 gear score dungeon that is around that where you're starting to get to that mid game, right? You can run this at 1600 gear score. But drop near Crow Cave, I probably won't use a res stone. Now, I will have a party that I will be running with in global. So res stones, I'm okay. If we die, we wipe, we do it again. But saving those res stones early, and what I mean by that is that if you do subscribe to the game, every single week you can buy 7 res stones. But if you look here, you actually see that they cost 100,000 Kina per one. So if you get your weeklies done, you are now spending 700,000 Kina a week on res stones that will then gate you on Kina, which will gate you on your gains, which will gate you on your crafting. All of these things are very, very important when it comes down to minute details, which is what's going to make the difference between a really, really high-geared player that's not paying to win and somebody that wants to swipe a credit card for a few $1,000s. Now, you're never going to catch that guy that's spending $1,000, but this is how you can... I don't want to say keep up, but this is how you have to play if you want to be anywhere in the realm of those players that are spending money just recklessly, right? So save that money early on, save your res stones early on. It will be very, very, very important to do that because of the fact that you're going to save an insane amount of Kina. Tier 2 Vakran Sky, Tier 3 Fire Temple is where I'm going to start using my res stones. Tier 6 Transcendence, maybe Tier 5 or Tier 4 if it's early on and we're struggling a little bit. But other than that, personally, I'm not going to use a res stone probably until I have a stack of 100, which is pretty much what I'm at. I think I'm at 69 right now if you look at my inventory. So again, I can't stress that enough. That's probably my most important one, and that's something that nobody is talking about. And now to my fourth one, wasting Kina will gate you. I've kind of been over this. This is kind of just a reiteration of what I already said, but wasting Kina is going to gate you. Enhancing your gear early on, that's just wasting Kina because whenever you get those enhancement stones back, you're not getting that Kina back. Wasting Kina on random upgrades, right? If you're getting your weapons and your armor to plus 10 or plus 15, like why are you wasting all this money on gear that you're going to replace super, super early on, right? So, wasting scrolls, right? I have my fucking scrolls on like an idiot right now. So I'm just burning 1,000 Kina every single time that one of these combat scrolls tick every 5 minutes. Sorry, I forgot to take this off right before I actually started making this. You know, if I leave these on and I waste all 100 because I buy 100 at a time, that's 200,000 Kina, right? You just if you're not running content, make sure that your scrolls aren't on, or you're not again wasting res stones or putting enhancement materials and shit that you don't need, right? Kina is very, very. It looks like you can make a lot. Like right now, I have 5 million Kina that I could waste that in 10 minutes. So don't get confused. Like when you see that you have millions of money, it's not millions. You have thousands of silver. Essentially, it's just. It's not to the sense of where you should ever feel comfortable with Kina because it could go poof just like that, right? If you want an endgame weapon, you're spending 200 million Kina very easily. So, again, wasting Kina is probably one of those things that kind of falls into every one of my other points that I make, but I kind of have to reiterate that in that point, so that's why I'm making it my 4. Now, number 5 is I get this in my Twitch chat all the time. They ask me why I'm doing more damage than a lot of these people that are higher gear score than me. They do not prioritize stats. So let's take my bow, for example, right? I've had this character for 3 days and I'm 2,000 gear score. But at the end of the day, my weapon alone... Now, I didn't put a Theostone because I just crafted this. I'm literally crafting right now. But I've got very lucky with this bow. But one thing that you don't understand is that everything in this game has a purpose to it. So your stats alone. So you don't have to look at your DPS. You don't have to look at the gear score of the item. You do at the end of the day, because flat damage will always be king. But percentage damage in this game is even more of a king, right? So whenever you have a weapon like I have now, so might is actually essentially a version of power in this game. So me rolling 61 might off this alone, I get a 6% attack increase. So I get 6% attack on top of 1800. Now, this character's still early on, so I haven't invested too much into it. This is kind of just my Taiwan account that I've rerolled, just to do a speed run over to 2500. But, you know, rolling might early on, I would realistically, to roll best in slot, I would roll combat speed. But these stats, you need to make sure that you're paying attention to these stats, because you could be leaving a shit ton of damage off the table for absolutely no reason. Just make sure that if you're going through a dungeon, you're not extracting your gear randomly, because of the fact that you could, at the end of the day, have the same exact gear score item, but you could actually be rolling some other stat that's going to increase your damage by more significant than an actual gear score upgrade, right? So this chest piece that I have, I could roll a blue chest piece, but there are specific soul bindings that you can roll on these. So like, let's say this, for example, if I wanted to re-roll something on here, you could actually see that your chest piece can roll flat damage boost up to 8.9%. So I could get 8.9% damage boost off of a run through an expedition or a conquest if I even roll the same gear. Just make sure that you're paying attention, right? Paying attention to this gear and making sure that you are getting the right stats on those gear. And I can do a stats guide if you guys want that. Leave that down in the comments down below. But I can do a stats guide for you if you want. But in all honesty, just look for damage. That's it. Now I can go over all of the substats. Realistically, there are these here, and then substats here that you can get. You know, there's crit, move speed, defensive stats, things like that for tanks as well. Status effect increase, so you could essentially hit your CCs more. Just make sure that you're paying attention to these things, right? Because if you just willy-nilly extract everything, first of all, again, you're wasting Kina that you could be using on your gear. Or you could just be getting a flat upgrade and missing it because you're just not paying attention. So those are going to be my 5 tips that can help you guys succeed in the later game. Now, I will go over a few more points in another video about how the game state is, what the updates are coming like, how the pay to win is. Me personally, right now, I'm still enjoying the game. I am still very invested in the game, and I still think the game is very, very good, regardless of the status, the pay to win and shit, and the bots and things like that. It is not a polished game yet. I will say that for a fact. I am not going to defend the game in that aspect, but I am enjoying the game very, very much. So if you guys want to join me on this journey, you guys can follow me on twitch.tv/filesbdo. I'll have that down in the description, or you guys can subscribe and like, and you guys can wait for the next video, and I would love to make another one for you. So thank you so much for this, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.